a good idea of what to do. We're gonna basically work on these over next week, and then you guys are just gonna show them in class. I'm not gonna grade these because I don't want you guys to be like stressing out about this already. I just want you guys to kind of get back into animation. But we will be going through each student and kind of just looking at their animation that they do for this, and it'll be nice. We can just be like, hey, this looks weird. You can use more time here. You can use less time here. Let me shrink this down. Boom, right there. And then yeah, we are recording. Nice. Okay, so in order to get a little bit of overlap action on this tail, let's first look at the speed right there. Okay. So see how it's just still traveling through there as that one hook. It looks like a pirate's hook kind of. And it's just staying completely stiff. So we basically need to add a little bit of sort of extra, just a little, like it needs to delay, right? Like that tail, think of it as having weight, right? It has the physics term is called inertia, right? So like that tail has weight, therefore it's harder to move from that space. The inertia of this bottom of the tassel prevents it from moving evenly with the top of it, right? So it always has that overlap action. It's a very important principle. As you guys go on, you'll probably start adding overlap to everything, and that's good, but you might do it too much, so got to keep it within bounds. So let's get into first a pose. And I know this isn't the best animation because we've had a few technical difficulties here and there. You know, this is our first animation for the class. But yeah, so let's get this into a pose. Remember how I was communicating that when you're doing squash, you kind of stretch out the pose as well. I kind of want to show that this tail is like this character storing energy. So I'm kind of like let's bend this up just a little bit. Keep in mind, I'm on frame 18. I'm trying to line this up with my other key frames as much as I can. So let's see that. See how he's kind of pulling it in. It's not too much. It's not too. Might be even too little. But yeah, let's try tweaking that back in there a little bit. There we go. Wow. So it's kind of like he's like that pose is communicating. He's kind of like flexing a little bit, kind of pulling in. And then let's go to this next pose. Now I do recommend that everyone set up a hotkey to go between frames. Notice how I'm pressing my hotkeys and I'm just snapping to these keys. Boom, 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 right there. Notice how I'm doing that. That's because the way I'm doing that was I set up my own hotkeys in here. The default hotkeys, just so everyone knows, I believe is period and comma. They no longer work because I unbound them, but I'm pretty sure that's the default hotkeys to go between the previous and next keyframe. So if we go into Windows, Settings and Preferences, Hotkey Editor, we can start to change those. And I'll go over that briefly because I changed my previous key and next key to A and D, just regular A and D. So I don't have access to a few buttons from that. But like when you're animating, you just need speed, right? You need to be able to quickly visualize like the difference between each frame. So in order to set up a new hotkey section, you'd go to Hotkey Set, then you duplicate your Maya default, and then you would rename it, the new one, you'd rename that to your animation key bindings or whatever. And then you just search for previous in the list. Let's see. I think it's in time. It always takes a little bit of time to let's go to key. Keys, paste keys. Oh yeah, so it's in playback under next key and previous key. So you would just go click on this hotkey spot right in there, set it to whatever you want, and then for previous key, set it to whatever you want. Also, let's see if we can just search in there, playback. Oh man. Other items. Animation, playback, key. That's upsetting. But yeah, you can also like set the like one key forward, one key back. That one's not as useful. Mostly just that snapped keys. But yeah, so that's where you set it, and then you can save and switch over to that. But yeah, I just want to show you guys that before we move on to this. It's not the most important detail. It's just for speed. But yeah, so when we're animating this, we have this kind of pull in, and then he springs out. But I'm not yet going to start moving those controls, right? We need to start messing with these ones further down the line. So if we look at 23 to 27, that's where it's most stiff, right? That's where it's most stiff. Like you see how it just kind of moves as one chunk. So we need to kind of break that sort of hook shape. Instead, pay attention to the end of that tail, right? Like this kind of core end section. That's where a lot of the weight is stored in that tail. And we need that to sort of hold in that position, right? Because the reason that this bottom tassel kind of sways behind it is because for a few frames as you move it, it stays into position. So it stays there. So we need to animate that drag, right? It's dragging behind. So let's go to frame 27. And I'm just selecting only the keys that only the controls that we're messing with, right? Again, don't like drag select over all of the tail, because notice how if I start rotating it, it rotates it all at once, you know? We're just only going for these base tail controls. Let's start rotating those downward, right? Then I'm snapping back to that previous frame, and we need this key right here. We need that tail to kind of sit more in space with the previous key. So I'm just gonna bend this out there and this out right there. Nice, nice. See that? Boom, right there. Oh, Taiki, you might be unmuted still.
Oh, sorry.
It's all good. We're just getting some nice cough ASMR. That's what I'm about. So there we go. So see how it sort of drags behind, and then it quickly snaps back into that shape. And that's because if we look at our graph editor, all these keys we input when we were doing all the body, when we drag selected over everything and made sure there was keys everywhere, those keys are still there. So they're still pinning that down. What we can do is kind of just delete those keys on my graph editor. I'll show you what that looks like. If you're pressing the delete key to delete the keys, make sure you're in the view in the graph editor window, because otherwise, if you're out here, you'll try to delete the rig, and don't delete the rig. That's how you destroy a rig. That's how a rig is broken forever. So make sure you're in this panel. Press delete. Notice how the keys are gone from down here as well. Alternatively, you could just shift left click drag and right click delete. Same exact effect. Same exact effect. And so this is extending out now. And then on the downward part right here, so this is where it's moving fastest, you know, we're going to get this tail stretched out as far away as, but still within its like, we don't want to break the shape of the tail too much, because it might not look like the same character, the same sort of premise is true for facial animation. If you bend an expression too far, it makes the character not look like the character anymore. So we want to do the same with this tail. We don't want it to go too far out of what it should look like. And since we have that weird hang time in there from before when we were retiming the character, I could get that out pretty quick, but I just want to keep moving on with just how we do that overlap. And then, so this is the landing frame. I feel like it should still, we could use a little bit more time in there. Right there. And you'll see that it kind of slowly interpolates back to that starting pose, which is not exactly correct. We would instead want it to kind of go a little bit beyond that pose, like, right? Like if it went back into, let's get this right. So if it stretched out, we'd want it to, when we land, we'd want it to kind of settle into the character. It will do a little bit of overshoot, or that's what overlap is. Like it'll settle in and then spring back out to where it should be. So let's get it, boom, because if you imagine this as a spring, when it stretches out here and lands back in, it's got to kind of compress. That energy has to go somewhere, right? So let's get that. Let's get this tail a little bit compressed right here. And that might look good. Let's see it. Might be too much. But yeah, you see what I'm going for there? See how it, boom, kind of delays a little bit. I feel like it springs a bit too fast throughout here. So I want more time in here, right? So I might drag these keys. Remember, I have all my controls selected. And just drag these keys farther away, right here. And there we go. That's pretty much it. I would, there's of course, like we can do a lot of polish on this. Like it's not super clean in terms of, well, a lot of things. Like we have that weird horizontal movement of the hang time. We would need to cut that out. It would need to be like the Z axis, right? The forward axis, this blue one. That would need to be a constant sort of arc on here, right? Because if as soon as you leave the ground in real life, you can't really reorient yourself. Like your center of gravity is going to be going along that same speed. So this curve would need to be a lot straighter. And I would even go in and start changing the tangents, which we haven't really talked about. But I would start changing those. Y'all don't need to worry about that for now. But we would just do a lot of refinement on this bad boy. But yeah, I just want you guys to get your feet back in the water for animating. You know, it's a weird sort of kind of abstract form of animating, but this is by far my favorite form of animating. Like just the sheer speed of it all is so nice for me. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the tutorial. See how I got that sort of weird kind of air brake effect out of there now. If anything, now he looks a little bit too gelatinous for my taste, but yeah, so that's just stuff for you guys to know. I will upload this tutorial. I'm gonna finish this recording up and then I'm gonna upload it to YouTube. I also have kind of a more succinct, focused version of this same lecture on my YouTube. Those should all be up by tomorrow morning. But yeah, so other than that, I just want to see your guys' version of exactly what my guy's doing right here. Just a little bit of a jump and some overlap action on that tail and settling back into his pose. You can add whatever sort of character you want to it as well. Like he's got like the, if you guys want to get fancy with it, he has some mouth controls and stuff here. And he can do a lot of things, you know. He can twist and look around. Like we got quite the boy right here. He's got some ears as well. So yeah, go crazy. I want to see what y'all are cooking up, and we'll look over everyone's when we come back to class tomorrow. Make sure that you are able to save this file though. At this point, I do file save scene as, and then bouncing boy anim 5, and then save as, either save as .mb or .ma, as long as it down here says result. Users, whatever, like what your file destination, as long as it says something like this with your file name at the end, then you're good. Then you're set. Benny, I didn't know this. Oh my god, I love this boy. Yeah, dude, he's got some personality to him. You can definitely sell it. You can definitely sell it. He definitely has it. But yeah, he's a very nice boy. You could even do a lip sync with him. Wow, that's pretty awesome. Wow. But yeah, so does anyone have any questions for me? Any questions? Any comments? Anything y'all are looking for? Anything y'all need to know?
How are you?
How am I? Anxious, I guess, because I have a lot of shit to do. My indie game project is a little bit behind schedule, so got to crunch for that.
That's a mood.
That is a mood. Yeah, I'm gonna be a lot like the Animation 4 folk. It's gonna be fun. But you know, hopefully it'll turn out nicely. What about you, Benny? How's it going?
Vibe.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
You know.
Survived the coup. Good times.
God, don't even get me started on that, dude. Oh my god. I like honestly just hate seeing the news because it just makes me so disappointed. Like, yeah, I'll leave politics out of the class. I don't know anyone's political affiliation, so I don't want to tread on anyone's toes. But yeah, that was not cool. That was not cool, to say the least. Survived a coup. I guess you could all say that. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Oh man. But yeah, rest of the class sounded pretty silent. People probably tired. I know we've had a good amount of time here. A lot of just me jabbering, but nothing too out of the box that you guys haven't seen before. At least hopefully. I hope Computer Animation 1 covered a lot of this stuff for y'all. But also I understand that like you guys have probably forgotten a lot because if you don't take Maya for like a semester and then you come back, you know, like, what? How does this place work? where are buttons again? That's just how it is. This was a great refresher. I'm glad. Yeah. I'm gonna try to like. Computer Animation 1 is just like a lot of information being bombarded at you guys. So in this one, I kind of want it to be just more focused and you guys get to do what you want to do. But I will give, you saw the schedule though. You saw the syllabus. You know what's going on. But yeah, all right. If there's no questions, then you guys are free to head out. And have a good one. If you hit 6, our boy has color. Yep. He's a little orange boy. But us freak animators, we live in the grayscale life. Ah, yes. Comfort. The comfort of grayscale. Everything makes sense here, especially for my colorblind ass. All right, guys. Well, you are free to head out if there's no questions. And if you
Or
do,
just-
oh, yeah, what's
I
up?
was about to say, it's like I always just think like when animators go to the movie to watch what they've done and then they look at it with full lighting and everything is like, oh shit, I did that.
Yeah,
I helped
yeah.
make that.
It's so sick. Yeah, you're just like, what the fuck? It looks so much better than when I was doing stuff with it.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, because you just only see it in like this state pretty much. You're like, oh damn, it's looking spicy. But yeah, oh, animation's so sick, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy that we get to just do this. I do feel like God or man was not meant to animate sometimes though. When you just run into problems all the time, you're like, oh fuck, this shit's cursed. Someone is smiting me. But yeah, no, I'm excited, guys. This is looking like a very promising semester. Y'all are looking pretty dope. So I'm excited to see where this goes. All right,
All right. Thank you. Thank you,
see
Mike.
you guys.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mike.
No
Bye,
problem.
Mike.
No problem.
Thank you.
See you.
Oh wait, whoops. Got to put this one on.
Let's see. Do I end here? Wait, I'll stop recording.